Good evening, everyone. How are you today? Today is December 27th, 2022, and the topic for today is manipulation. Funny thing about that. It wasn't really the original topic. It was the original topic was something probably more controversial, but we decided that I decided that there were a whole class of different controversial topics that are pretty constant these days. And when you get right down to it, they've been going on for a long. This is a situation that's been happening, turning young against old, men against women, rich against poor, uh, anyone and everyone against anyone and everyone else. And usually these topics have some uh, they have to be a real topic. They can't just be something completely made up. But if you take it and tweak it just a little bit and make it a little bit more spicy, a little bit more extreme in either direction, it takes off by itself. And I guess I'm wondering, just I certainly, and I can prove that I'm not the only one that has uh, wondered why they're doing this. And I guess that's what's the big understanding. I guess the first time I got a really shocking revelation on this was with COVID, when COVID first came out, when COVID-19 came out in, I don't know, October, November, December of 2020. I said, this is not making any sense whatsoever. The way it's being presented, the way it's coming through on the social media, the way it's coming through on television, the way the newspapers are covering it. They have to understand. There has to be a deeper understanding of, and and in that time they were playing both sides, and then suddenly everybody got together and picked a side, and then it was oh my, vaxxers against no vaxxers, and it was just constantly pumped up to, but to what purpose? I guess that's the real question. So I thought, well, okay, let's look for the next big uh, case of cognitive dissonance and see where it comes from, what its target group is. And maybe if you put enough of these things together, you can figure out who is the one that's doing the manipulating. I have some candidates for that, but I can't really say that I have. Uh, I have my list of top suspects, but I haven't got a favorite yet. So that's where we are. So we're going to try to discuss this a little bit, and some of the things that have been done from different sides, and see if we can figure it out. Hello, Maria. So glad to have you here.
Yeah, me
How's
too.
the weather down there? I'm Mary, and I hope you had a great, wonderful, happy holiday.
I hope you did too. The weather here got to be 38 degrees, and it's going to get a little
I'm
bit below
jealous.
freezing. Well, it's going to be 50.
Ooh.
50, 60 degrees this week before the next one hits.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to have a ton of rain. So
I'm hoping that their forecast for the end of the week this week is a much better forecast than the one they had last week for the blizzard.
yes,
It was supposed to be 10 below, and Vivi, welcome. Anyway, it's supposed to be like incredibly below zero and 50-mile-an-hour winds, and it didn't quite happen. And 12 inches of snow.
Ooh.
I got like 3 inches of snow, and although it was a bit breezy, we didn't have anywhere near 50-mile-an-hour gusts.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Well, I'm jealous. We had, I think our wind gusts were 40 miles an hour, but we had like sustained winds of 20 to 30 with gusts up to 40.
Okay.
And then, and we got 2 inches of snow here, but that flash freeze was what got us.
Oh.
Because it rained it was raining first. And then whenever that front came through, it dropped from 50 degrees down to 0.
Mm-hmm. That is terrible.
By midnight.
When that happened, that is terrible. I have been in that situation before, and it is horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, the roads become totally impassable, really. And
well, what they didn't do.
Then you have power lines start coming down.
Well, we were lucky with that, other than the fact that they decided, because our temperatures here didn't get above 0 for 2.5 days. And but they decided they were going to do rolling blackouts for 15 to 20 minutes a piece. And of course, you're looking at, it was Christmas Eve, the day, but Christmas Eve and Christmas Eve, and they were doing these rolling blackouts with these businesses. So
oh my, that would be pretty disruptive.
Well, and of course, I mean, it's just wherever you were living. And I can remember looking at, because I can look up the outage map for my electrical service area. And there was a place north of me that about 2,000 people had lost their power for over 4 hours.
That's
which, if you, and then there was way more, just little places other than that. But I can't imagine. It was below 0. And then you had the wind chill of -25 this far south, and then people that didn't have power for 4 hours or more. So I was lucky. I didn't have to deal with that rolling blackout, which it was only going to be 15, 20 minutes. I can deal with that. But you think about that temperature in this area, 20 minutes, how much everything is going to have to run to catch up.
Yeah.
But now I keep my house at 65 degrees, and I know there's a lot of people that keep theirs a lot warmer. I'm at the age that if it's at more than 65 and I'm up walking around, I'm going to be sweating and I'm going to be mad. So I just keep it that way.
Okay. It's just, but all in all, here we had a pretty good Christmas. Pretty good weather. The great grandkids had really enjoyed themselves, and that's what it's all about anyway. Me,
They finally did
get the roads. Family.
Oh yeah. Hey, Oofy. They finally got the roads, and I know about 20 miles from where I am, they never could get that uniced. And of course, there were wrecks constantly. It just seemed like it never did stop. But Christmas Day, the road that I traveled, I was able to go see the grandbaby and my son. I have to put that in there now. Used to, it was I go see my son. Now it's I'm going to go see the grandbaby, and I don't say anything about his wife or him. So,
Well, that's
oops,
how it works.
you're right. You're right.
That's how it works. It's the, let's see, the target. You always name the target. You know, you're not
Oh
going to
yeah,
visit you're going to visit your son. Then you're not going to go visit the son and the wife. You're going to visit the grandbaby.
yeah.
Absolutely, perfectly understood.
Hmm. And see, that was something else too. That was like whenever my son got married and before they had the baby,
Hmm.
they never would come see me. And
Uh
I'm like, so I have to go see them. And now it's the same way. So
huh.
with the
Yeah.
baby, I understand.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
hello, Miss
Oh,
Julie.
wait till
How are
next
you
year.
doing?
Wait till next year. Wait till next year when she's 2.
Ooh.
You know, that'll be better.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Well,
for when she's 5 or 6. I want to go to grandma's house.
mm,
We always have
actually,
fun when I go to grandma's house.
okay. So, yeah, the fun thing about that is that they call me Riri.
Okay.
I'm going to be Riri. So, my when I was 16, my great nephew was born. And when he started talking, he could not say Maria.
Hmm.
So he called me Riri. You see what's she just
Yes.
went outside. It's not that
Yes.
cold outside.
See, just checking.
Hmm.
Just checking the old studio, trying to see what's wrong. Why
I
aren't you out
felt
on the Why aren't you out on the deck tonight?
I felt sorry for them because when it was so cold, I mean, when
Hmm.
it's -10 and the wind chill's -20,
I don't
they
know.
wanted to go
I
outside.
didn't have any trouble with the puppies getting them back in. Usually
Oh
that's the
yeah.
problem. They go outside and they want to stay outside. Uh,
Oh
past
no.
week they were waiting at the door.
It's like let
Okay,
me in.
this was we took care of business. It's time to get back inside.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
by the way, where's that treat?
Yes, because I went outside and didn't use the corner. But mine, I've got a black and white one, and all she wants to do is hunt constantly. She didn't want to do
Mhm.
anything but hunt and sleep. And
Can I
she,
borrow her?
yeah,
Can you package her up
I
and
need
send
to
her
rent
along?
her out. I
I
have a lot of
need one.
requests for her.
I this this solid freeze
Hmm.
has forced some mice into the house.
Ooh,
I've seen a couple of them,
ooh, that's
and
not
we've got
good.
all the traps and all the poisons and all the good stuff. And I saw one in here last night. They said, "Oh,
Hmm.
we're gonna have to get serious."
You know, I had that problem at my old house, and I would put out all the poison, and it would be funny. I would just keep a tray out
Hmm.
all the time, and it would be full. It was right where I could see it, and then
Hmm.
one day I'd open up the counter, the cabinet door, and it would be empty, and I was like, "Well, crap, that means."
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a lot of poison, and it does kill them. But anyway,
Yes.
yeah,
Well,
between the.
I would prefer the feline method because
Mhm.
then you don't have to worry about finding the carcass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Between her and the calicoed one, they're my killers. And
Hmm.
when the black and white one is in a mood, I'll have 4 or 5 carcasses brought to me in one day.
Yeah,
So,
trophies.
hmm
Yes.
my calicoed one come running in the house with something in her mouth. And of course, I had to gather her up and send her outside really quick. But I got to what I glanced at in her mouth looked like a flying squirrel. And of
Okay.
course, by the time I got her outside, and oh, look, here comes
Hmm.
the killer right now. There be Nala.
There you go.
But anyway,
Hmm.
but she's been stuck in the house for the last 3 days because it's been so
Yeah.
cold and
Hmm.
not happy because we got another inch of snow yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
But it got up to 38 and it's all melted and the roads were already treated and they didn't really have to do anything else. So
I was
but
glad
anyway.
to see Vivi made it here tonight. Since her original topic
Oh, men
was
versus women.
suggested men versus women was
Hmm.
kind of what got me
Yep.
on this particular path. It wasn't just and I connected that to the other things, and we discussed a little bit earlier today some of the other different versus some of the
Yes.
other different mm, matches that we've been picked up,
Hmm.
picked up and caused to be against one another.
Right.
The but the one that was that I got the most, I've seen the most movement in probably in the last week or so has been men against women, and women against men, and men are toxic and women are whatever.
How so?
The whole toxic masculinity thing.
Oh, no. How? What were some of the things that you were seeing that was men against women
Oh
this week?
gosh. Um, I would suggest you look up anything by. I hope I don't get this wrong. I think it was um, a TikToker, the name of Tate, who was originally a MMA fighter, has got some stuff, and it goes back. Jordan. Oh my goodness, Jordan Peterson. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, out of Canada. Got a lot of play on this a few years ago, and his was. It started out with his university decided that uh, people got to choose their preferred pronoun, and he was offended that he had to use whatever. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe he couldn't remember their names. He had, and it's
Just
all
it's stupid.
yes, it is.
It's all stupid.
Um,
I tell you what, I get tickled at is the drag queen situation.
yeah, that's one. That one too.
I can remember. I don't know how many years ago it was.
Well,
Oh
I remember
no, when
Tony.
I was in
Curtis.
high
I
school. Do you
remember
remember?
Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis and him and somebody else had a movie like that. Had a movie like that where they hid out in a cruise ship with a bunch of showgirls in drag. Uh, I can't remember. I remember the movie very well, but and it was really a presentation of the same thing, but it was humorous. Okay, it was just another one of those jokes. Okay, that you couldn't do that today because that would be making fun of whatever.
Julie said some like it hot.
Yes, I think that I'm pretty sure that was it. Who was the second male? See if you can. Oh, Ron.
Yeah, Ron.
No, I don't think he was. I don't think he was around to be a co-star in that one.
Oh, and Oofy said, let's not forget the movie Tootsie.
Absolutely, that one too.
But now I can remember.
But that was no big thing. All the big comedy stars did it.
Julie said Tony Curtis.
I said Tony Curtis. I remember Tony.
Well,
Curtis.
I remember. Okay,
but his co-star is one of his co-stars because I think Marilyn Monroe was in that too. So,
but see, I mean, and this has been a thing forever. This has been. I mean, Look at the Three Stooges. Look at
Yes,
Laurel
Mrs.
and Hardy.
Doubtfire.
You know,
Yes.
even going back further than that, I mean, the Three Stooges did that. I've got something
all
that's
the time.
popped up on my screen and I can't make it go away.
Uh-oh.
Now I can make it go away this way. Okay. But it's like, so when I was in high school, and this was before, I mean, what's the big deal? A man dressing up like a woman for comedy, a woman dressing up like a man for comedy. One of my favorite movies, Victoria.
Victoria. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's a great movie.
That was a great movie. That was
another great movie that I loved is was it oh gosh, Robin Williams was in it too. Birdcage.
I
think it was. Oh
it
my God, that
kind
is
of familiar,
the best movie. It was the best movie. And I can't remember who his co-star was with this. I mean, he was great too, because I mean, anyway, what I was going to get at was I can remember in high school was, you remember RuPaul? I know everybody knows RuPaul.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I would. RuPaul is still on and very popular.
We don't have any teeny boppers in here, so I think we're safe in saying that.
But it was, man, it was okay. So, to me, all that was, because nothing was ever. There was no discussion at that time of transgender or transsexuals or anything like that.
Right.
And their story about them being gay and the troubles that they were having and things like that had absolutely nothing to do with that stuff.
No.
My God, when you can take a man and make him look that gorgeous as a woman.
Yes.
To me, all of that drag queen stuff, to me, all my life has been nothing but wonderful entertainment.
That's one of those, it's theater. It is
yes.
theater.
They are wonderful.
Yes.
And to me, anybody that can do that it's awesome. I mean, I'm in awe of that. Well, but see, now that the times that we live in, these drag shows have always been 18 and up.
Yes.
And then now you're seeing that they want to take them to libraries for them to read stories to kids, but they end up doing a performance. And I mean, there's been several snapshots taken. Stop it. You know, I mean, it's adult entertainment, every bit of it. Any of that stuff. I mean, you're not going to, but what I'm getting at, so now what they're doing is they're shoving this stuff down people's throats when we've all embraced this, the shows and everything. I mean, these people are magnificent.
As a part of the culture, sure.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Don't take it to a kid's school or library. I mean, come on.
Okay.
Stop it. Don't even.
Look, okay. I will say those are probably extreme instances of that happening. And I've no doubt it happened. Okay. I'm not going to doubt that it happened. But I'm going to say
doubt what happened, that they went to the schools?
But it hasn't happened here yet.
That they went to the schools? You're doubting that happened?
No, I said I didn't doubt that happened.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But it was done.
It's the big cities.
It was done to create controversy. It was done it was taken to that audience, which was inappropriate, intentionally to get coverage.
Yes.
Okay. To create the controversy. That is the whole point we're trying to get to. Okay.
Right,
Who
exactly.
is creating the controversy, and what is their motive? That's what
To
I
take
want
your
to get
attention
to.
off of what else is going on. And it's like
Yeah.
it's like Venus says, nobody gives a shit they're gay. I don't care.
No.
And the thing about it is too, is that if they're not gay,
but not nobody. There is the opposite end fringe that thinks that is a mortal sin, and that's what got Sodom and Gomorrah firebombed for. So we can't put up with
the gay
put
part
up with that having it here anywhere. Okay. And that, okay, if you believe that, that's fine.
But weren't they raping each other? Wasn't that the thing though?
Who? Which? Where?
In Sodom and Gomorrah. It was like if a new male walked in, it was like they were going to screw them whether they wanted them to or not.
One of the. If you go, and I'm taking a word on this because I do not know anything about Hebrew, but according to reputable sources, the original sin that Sodom and Gomorrah was, they were very rich cities who exploited the poor people around them, which is a lot more
kind of like what's going on now.
Yeah. Okay.
Oofy's got a good question.
It's not like they turned them loose out of buses in the middle of Washington D.C. in like 7 below zero wind chill factors.
Stop it.
No, I mean they didn't do anything that bad. Okay, just joke.
But it's okay for them to walk across the desert with absolutely no food, water, or anything, and they find them dead by the dozens. But they bust them somewhere. They were in a warm bus. They got to shelter immediately.
For 5 days.
They bust them. They were warm and they were fed. They were clothed and they were probably bathed. So no. You're not. I don't. No. That's another one of those division bullshit things.
Well, we'll have to wait for the details of it. But the actual.
They didn't just drop them off at the corner and say, "Here,
yes,
go to Camellia." Do you know that for sure?
Yes.
Positive.
I do know that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's another one of those divisive things.
Well, it is. It should be, and I'm just surprised that they.
And who found them and how long did it happen? What building did they go into right after that?
They were picked. Okay. According to the story that I heard, that makes the most sense to me is someone blew the whistle and they had buses there to pick them up very shortly. Because they had been forewarned, okay, that they were going to drop them off.
Okay.
And they picked them up, gave them blankets, triaged. Some went to hospitals, some didn't. Some went to, and the rest went to a church where they were kept overnight until they could be sent on to better accommodations. So it all worked out. It all worked out pretty good.
But we're not saying don't. Never mind. That's another one of those things. Why is the border open anyway?
I don't know. Neither side wants to touch that.
But one side did.
Not the Republicans. They don't.
One side touched it and did actually start building a wall. And he was crucified for doing it. And then the next one.
Because it didn't work.
But the next one comes in and they were like, oh, yeah, well, go ahead. Come on in. We don't care. Come on. Where the other one was building the wall and saying, "Don't come, don't come, don't come."
Biden has been working under the same modus operandi up until last week under Title 42, has sent them all back because COVID. Sorry, you can't stay. Here's your take a number. Go back to Mexico when we're ready to bring you in and talk to you. We'll give you a call.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what's being reported, but that's not actually what happened because we've discussed about this before.
Okay. If you were the one person that had
we've had that discussion before.
If you were the person that just walked 1,000 miles, what would you tell them to do with that ticket?
Tell them to shove it up their ass and go and come in where they're supposed to come in.
That's right. Well, no, I would
look.
I suspect that most of them have taken that ticket and told them to shove it up their ass, and went half mile down the road to the hole in the wall and came through that way.
Exactly. So that there's your illegal problem.
And some of them got caught, and some of them didn't.
Majority of them didn't because the damn thing's wide open now. Yes. And now in Arizona, they're dismantling the wall.
Thank you, Julie.
What'd she say? Exactly.
Yes.
But that's the thing.
Both of them. But both sides are using.
So why do you even have this Title 4? And that's been a big thing for a long time. That's one of the reasons we were taking them back. And then it was saying, well, no, we're going to let them in. They were letting them in anyway. Doesn't matter.
Sure.
But it's like, don't bitch about it. It's okay when they're all in Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and Southern California. But if you take them across country to where maybe you can house them better, my God, do not take them to Martha's Vineyard. Don't let those people in here. Oh my God, don't take them to Washington, D.C., even though it's a sanctuary city.
That was too expensive.
Yeah.
Jesus
Who
Christ.
gives?
What do you think it costs for those airplanes?
Yeah. Like our government gives a shit.
Well, it's not,
they're spending our money. They don't care.
Florida has plenty of money. I guess.
Oh, do you remember when it was just the Cuban problem?
Or the Haitian problem?
Yes, when they were floating on all of these makeshift rafts.
Sure.
I can remember being on a cruise and eating supper. Yeah, eating supper, and all of a sudden everything in the dining room went to one side and then forward, and we were like, what just happened? And we looked out the windows.
Did we just hit an iceberg off the Bahamas?
Yeah, exactly. And we looked out the windows, and there were several of these little makeshift crafts, and they stopped and had to pick them up. I mean, but I remember when that was a thing. So it's but this is my thing.
Okay.
If you're gonna open up the border in the South, just let them walk on through. Bus them to wherever it is that they need, who can house them and take care of them.
Sure.
Don't make me have a passport. Quit checking people that are coming in and out of the country. Drop your terrorist list. Stop it. If you can't fly in here or drive in here under the same restrictions as you can in the South, where you can just walk across the border, stop. Let go of all of it. If you're going to control the west, north, and east, why? Why? And that's another thing. That's another one of those. Let's divide.
Look, not this year, but the year before last, when this was at its peak, there were nearly $1 billion. There was nearly $1 billion worth of agriculture that was plowed back into the ground because they couldn't find anybody to pick the produce. You know,
exactly.
That's and there. it just seems like today, if you have people that are economic refugees or whatever, let them get them sponsors. Okay.
Well, that's the legal way. Yes.
Yes.
But they're
Yes.
letting them all in
But
illegally and busing them all over the country.
Yes.
Why?
To create discord.
No, there's got to be another,
got to be
something else.
You think there's some money in it somewhere?
You think? It can't be. Oh, by the way, I've got to go find this comment real quick that Andy made. Oh, crap.
NWO?
No, on my white cat.
Oh.
Put sunglasses on that cat.
I blinked.
Yes.
Anyway. Oh, my. Yes.
For those people that, but anyways, yes. But it's like they're bitching about that we're not going to be able to get our Social Security because we don't have any money. But yet we've paid into it all our damn lives. And I can remember, because 6 months before your birthday, you're supposed to get your little letter.
Yes.
Now they don't mail them out anymore. You have to do the sign up to look at it. Anyway, it's just gone downwards as long as I can remember. My benefits are not going to be what they said they were going to be 20 years ago.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Absolutely.
But tell me why, because they're still taking all of my money out because they call the Social Security thing the general fund, basically. It's not a general fund. It's another tax.
I'm kind of pulling this number out of my butt. But I seem to remember having heard that over the past 2 years on COVID, there are 1 million less. Well, actually, yes, about 1 million less older people than there were before that. In fact, the life expectancy in the United States went down again this year.
Way down.
And it was originally at 75. It peaked at 75, and now it's there right at 70. That tells you something. That tells you which segment of the population has taken the biggest hit on this situation.
Well, we're not going to get any extra money out of it. We're not going to reap those benefits.
That's 1 million. That's 1 million people, which is a not insignificant number, by the way.
I want to know when they're going to bring in an asteroid.
Don't push it. any day now. They were taking radio readings using HARP last week on an asteroid, or will soon do so.
Using HARP. I'm so glad you said that. So glad you said that.
I wonder. My sister was asking me, are they going to melt it and change the trajectory with that HARP?
Oh, which they have completely denied that was ever in existence.
Yes,
and then
that giant radio array in Alaska that they never existed. Yes.
Never existed. But then yet they said, well, they shut it down 10 years ago up in Alaska somewhere, and it's like, but now
ran over it. Now they're using it to do something to asteroids.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing.
We got to make it.
Could be nothing.
But see, if they say it that way, then it looks like a good guy.
Yes.
It doesn't look like what it was actually used for. And then they had to deny that it ever existed. Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
Bastards. So when are we going to get rid of them?
When they started doing this was about the same time that they started saying, oh, just a bunch of conspiracy theorists. They need to loosen up their tinfoil hats.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because we did talk about that. It was we were talking about history. The good guys write the winners,
Sure.
and the good guys write the history that we went to
Yes.
school with, that we
Oh,
read, and all this good
absolutely.
stuff.
Absolutely. And then
And
you get
then
out
it
of
was,
school.
yes, you get out of school and you listen to Art Bell, or you listen to this
Or
off
you
the
read, or
wall
you read a
French
book,
stuff.
or you read a book.
The book that the
Yeah.
school didn't tell you to read.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not that book.
that was
Yes.
not that book, a different book. And
Mhm.
then, but I know there's been several things that you would get and you would go, wait a minute, that's not what they told us in school.
No.
But still, are they still teaching? Have they made Pluto a planet back yet? Did they revert back to the old science books? I
No,
don't know.
I think it's officially a planetesimal.
Planet what?
Planetesimal. They had to build a whole new category for it.
Only because people got pissed off and revolted against it. But
it's
still,
kind of a planet. It's kind of a planet. It's a planetesimal.
when its moon is twice the size it is, it really never should have been a planet in the first place. But
Really, the chutzpah
should have been.
call themselves
I'm
to think of
glad.
themselves as a planet.
I'm glad Pluto's a planet. I mean, it's that's a fun name.
Hey,
Come on.
look, I remember Clyde Tombaugh. It'll always be a planet to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a heart on it. How could it not?
Yes,
how could you pick it
absolutely.
out for being a planet? Come on. But I guess that's good. That's a cold, hard heart. Way the hell out there. So maybe that should have been named Venus, and then Pluto should have been our Venus. They should have switched them.
You're right. You're right. The hot-blooded planet would be Venus, not Mars.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Mars is just old and rusty.
Well, but see,
Venus is where the action is.
I've heard that.
Yes.
I've heard that. I'm kind of jealous, but anyway, she's much younger than I am. I guess it would be hotter and better. I'm just saying.
No.
Andy's like blowing up my Skype. Dude, I'm on the show. Oh, look at it. I'm sorry. But anyway. Yeah. So.
Okay. So how many controversies have we? Let's see. Let's bring up a new one. One that I think was a failed attempt to get controversy started was Young Against the Old. I kind of saw that coming when they did the old.
Well, they want to get rid of old people, so
bring
they don't
out
have to
the
take
boomer.
care of them.
The boomer. Oh, what's the
They've been
phrase?
bitching about the boomers since I was in.
Yes. I really expected that to take off, and it really didn't. I'm not sure why.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
So we could put that on there as a failed one. The millennials against the boomers.
It's all there's that because they're stupid. The millennials are stupid.
All the millennials are.
Pretty much.
I think
they're probably wising up now.
I think in any particular demographic, you're going to find a bunch of stupid people.
Well, but that's what they're doing, and they're labeling them. So it's like anybody that's a generation younger than you, they're young and dumb. They've not. Yes. And they've got their opinions and they put them out there and it makes them look dumb as hell because they've not experienced.
Dumb and lazy.
Oh, you forgot the full of cum part.
Social media, Yeah.
But I mean, that's with any age. I mean, experience comes with age.
Yes.
That's
you pay a price for that experience.
You make stupid mistakes and you learn stuff from that. And even if it's not a stupid mistake, it makes you think again before you do it.
Yes.
Um,
And okay. And another thing about that is with experience, you say, wait a minute, I fell for that trick before. I'm not going to fall for that trick before. You're going to have to come up with something new, you know?
well, and true, but it's like, okay, so you stick a screwdriver in an electrical outlet, you get shocked. You're not going to do that again. So I mean, that's a
Not
mistake.
likely.
You're gonna.
Not likely.
But that's what
Um,
I'm getting at, because I can remember when my son was, I don't know, but he was in his teenage years. He was in high school,
mhm,
and it was like his dad couldn't understand why he didn't know how to do XYZ.
mhm.
And I'm like,
Okay.
you know how to do it, doesn't mean he knows how to do it.
Yes.
You know, our common sense is you take,
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you've changed a battery in a car
Yes.
before, it's easy for you.
Right.
And maybe your son has watched you do it before, but that doesn't mean he knows how to do it.
Yes. Well,
Now we have YouTube videos for that.
I will tell you my own story. My favorite grandson,
Mhm,
I wanted to teach him, and his brother is a brilliant mechanic, picks up
mhm,
everything just like that,
mhm.
and I would try to get him interested in, and I enjoy that kind of thing myself, and I really wanted him to get that. Okay, he has absolutely no. He's perfectly capable, quite intelligent, but
Mhm.
that's not his thing. That's not his
Right. That's
bent.
not what he wanted to do.
You know?
You're right. Mhm.
And uh, in fact, my great niece is probably a better mechanic than he is. So
Well,
okay,
and that was
that's
something
fine,
too.
and
I
that's
did
fine.
that. I
Yeah.
loved, I took electricity class in trade
Yes.
school, my junior year in high
Hmm.
school. Senior
Okay.
year, I took auto mechanics. That
Yeah.
stuff was fun to me.
Now, why does that not surprise me?
Yeah, I know. But then it was, so when I went to college, I started doing mining and reclamation.
Hmm.
And of course, then I got a job at the coal mines working part time, kind of a correspondence type thing. I don't know, whatever they call that crap.
Uh, Apprentice or a intern, right? Like an
Something,
internship.
yeah, not
Okay.
really. But,
Anyway,
anyways, I got
yeah,
paid for it. That was the best
that's
part.
so.
Um, but I was working in a coal lab,
Mhm.
and then I could, and then I was going to school 2 days a week, working 3 days a week. So I had hands on along with what I was learning in school,
Mhm.
which is totally different.
Yeah.
So I got to see real life compared to what they were teaching you in school. That was the best part about that experience, because in that way I had the common sense to go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I don't need to put that on my test,
Yeah.
because that's not what they're teaching me in school.
Yes.
And I have kind of carried that through my whole life, because
Mhm.
I remember mom and dad took, we went to church.
Mhm.
Mom took to church. So what they taught you in church is not what they were teaching you in school. And
Mhm.
I never had to
Oh yeah.
ask why. I never had to ask the difference. I learned what they were teaching me in school, and I learned what they were teaching me and I could differentiate.
Okay. Which obviously people are having a much more difficult time with now, because
Yeah.
there's a certain segment that wants it both ways. They want it.
Mhm.
I don't know how they want it. I think they act like they want it all simple,
Mhm.
black and white,
Mhm.
and consistent from one place
Mhm.
to the other.
Doesn't happen.
And nothing about life works that way.
It never has.
Yeah.
And the older generation knows that.
Well, that's part of the experience thing.
Yeah, but so why did I know the difference? But I've always known the
Because you
difference.
were, oh, I had that. I had that conversation already today with my sister. We were talking about something else. I said, Why are we different? How did we escape this? And I said, we're just mutants.
The bullshit. How did
Yeah.
we escape the bullshit?
Yes.
And I guess because your parents weren't pulled into bullshit. I mean, there's parents that I've talked to, and I'm like, oh my God, yeah.
I see where they got it.
They let you do some reproduction there, and you probably shouldn't have been able to. But anyway, here we go. This is why we have wars. So, this is,
Yes, we need cannon fodder. Well, not so much.
and the thing about, I think
We're
the
all-
thing that
we're all
scares,
cannon fodder. We're all cannon fodder these days.
yeah, and that's the bad part is what happens to these people whenever the truth smacks them in the face and everything they've ever believed in is false. We deal with this with the paranormal stuff. People
Yes.
that don't believe in anything
Yep.
paranormal, and all of a sudden a demon stabs them in the heart with a wooden stake, or they see an alien or a UFO lands in their backyard, or Bigfoot comes in and
Wait a
kicks their
minute.
back
I'm trying
door.
to think there was a rather famous skeptic. I can't remember his name, but he was one of those debunker type skeptics.
Mm-hmm.
Until he had a situation where he found an old radio that had belonged to his grandfather or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This had been in the attic, wherever, for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And brought it out, and it started working. It turned itself on.
Oh shit.
Okay. That's absolutely impossible. That cannot be explained in the mundane
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it happened. He had witnesses that it happened. It wasn't just he wasn't just making this shit up to have a nice story, because it was entirely against his concept of reality. Everything that he had preached for his entire career was just gone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he was having a hard time with that, because it is something that people have a hard time with. You know, if you don't think that any of that stuff is real or happens until it happens to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's the whole thing. That's another deal. It's just because it didn't happen to you doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And so we deal with this a lot. Yeah. Oh, insert favorite. But yeah, thanks, Sophie. We try. We try. But yeah, just because it doesn't happen to you doesn't mean it never happened.
Yes.
Oh, it said Ronald. I thought it meant like our Ron. See, it helps when you read the whole sentence instead of skipping through.
Yes. Read the whole. If you're going to just read the headlines, read the whole damn headline.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to disappear for just a second because I have a cat emergency going on over here. Treats are not available just yet, so I have to go make sure they're
Okay.
Be right back.
Okay. I'll try to come up with something else that's okay. There's just so many different things, like the resurgence of the UFO, UAP, UAOP, whatever the hell they're calling it this week. It's none I've seen, and everybody says, well, we're going to look back now, and we're going to look at everything back to 2004. And and we have 122 cases, and we got rid of all of them except 4. Well, what about the tens of thousands of cases that were reported from 1949? Oh, let's go back. Say from 1935 until 2004. Okay, 70 years of cases. But no, we don't. We're not. No, we can't look at those. Those are forbidden. We can't look at that. We can't take that into consideration. We're just going to look at the new ones that were done by military sources. Why? Were they particularly trained, to make these observations? And by the way, what training is that? Who gave them that training? What was the curricula for that particular job classification? It's all, and why today? Why suddenly? Why suddenly? Because one blurry secondhand video popped up on a German YouTube channel in 2015. Does that mean that 2019 or whenever the hell they rolled it out in the New York Times, it's suddenly a front page story? It just didn't make any sense then, and it doesn't make any sense now. And I'm not particularly on those 3. Actually, I guess there's 4 really famous ones now. Fast Mover, Gimbal, something else, and then there was the one where the light, when it splash or something like that, I think is what it's called. All those are military, but they're not particularly informative, and they certainly didn't release the radar returns on any of them. So yeah, this is solid evidence. So we can dismiss all that other firsthand, multiple witness, eyewitness statements, thousands of them. Yeah, so those are worthless. But this one little blurry video that somebody took on a freaking of a cathode ray tube on a cell phone, yeah, that's solid evidence. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of. But look at all the paranormal shows we've got.
Sure.
And they constantly show it over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
You get evidence. I've got on my old computer, I have a shit ton of evidence of.
Yes.
And nobody wants, and then people want to doubt it. It's because they didn't experience. They didn't know it. They weren't there. They didn't believe it. And I've had that happen to me a million times.
I think it's even worse than that. Okay, because I think people are told, well, this is just a conspiracy. This is just woo-woo. This is outside the realm of normalcy. If you believe in that stuff, you're going to be the outcast. Okay,
right.
If you think you're a UFO guy, I don't know if I want to work with you. You're wearing a tinfoil hat.
Yes. You're the military's a perfect example of that.
And commercial pilots.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect example
of that. In the beginnings of that, commercial pilots were making reports all the time. And then they found out if you make a report, you're not going to get promoted. You're not going to get the good routes. You may get tossed out on your ass.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And and that was even going on with whenever X-Files came out.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, look how many years ago that came out. And
1994, maybe? I might have been early. Might have been before that.
Might have been a little bit earlier than that. But still, yeah. It's all been going on forever. And then
Yes.
people would watch that and people loved it. I mean, look how many years that show went on.
Mhm.
But then if you were actually to put that into real life, nobody wanted to even
And
acknowledge it.
and 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 if you were knowledgeable of the of the genre that they were addressing, a lot of those were from real
Oh shit.
live
I got
reporting.
a phone call coming. I gotta take this.
Okay, a lot of those were from real reports. They were taken from actual experiences. It wasn't just a total fantasy. They had some backing to them. Uh, and speaking of, this is a little bit out there too. I just saw today where a Amazon series that I had just finished watching the 8 episodes of, called Peripherals, was going to be picked up for a second season after it had been canceled, which was funny because they didn't promote it particularly well, but suddenly it took off, and after having been canceled, they decided they were going to pick it up for a second season, and I'm kind of happy about that. So, and it, I can't describe the show. It's unless you, let's see, the only thing I can think of is like Ready Player One. If you've seen that movie, you'll understand this show a lot better. That's pretty good. Good for you, Justin. Um, but I guess the main thing is it's becoming obvious, to me at least, that there is some group or groups that have discovered this tactic, and with it they can change people's mind and turn people against other people. And we need to be smarter than that. We just need to get with it and not let them do that to us. There are things that we need to do. You know, there are things that are important to be done in this world these days. You know, and we have the ability to do it. A lot of those things, but we're not. We can't address those things that we would be rather easy to do when we are uh, distracted by all the the controversies that, when you boil it right down, just don't make any sense. They don't affect our day-to-day life. Uh, we were talking earlier about the weather problems. Whether the vulnerability of our we need our electric grid, and it has been a solid fact that it is very vulnerable. There are a lot of vulnerabilities. Uh, uh, about a month ago, they had a instance in North Carolina, I believe, where they basically shut down a couple of counties where 10,000 people were out of power for over a week because someone somewhere how uh, messed with the transmissions. the transformers. Then just yesterday, I saw that there had been an instance where 4 transformers had been uh, either shot up or shut down in Washington State. You know, these it's just can't be that easy. We can't allow it to be that easy. That some moron with a hard on can go out and turn the power off for thousands and thousands of people. For myself in particular, I'm quite dependent sometimes on that power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of like staying warm.
Yes, having lights, TVs, computers,
Yep, it's great.
all that kind of stuff. I like it. I like to keep it.
Yeah, it is pretty fun. But I just this conquer and divide and conquer
Yes.
type thing that's going on, and it's a little annoying. And some of us are understanding
but
what they're doing.
apparently they think it's working. Is it working?
Well, it is working. Yes, it's working. My God, look at all the shit they did with George Floyd. Look at everything they pushed through on that.
Yes.
I mean, come on. That was ridiculous. And no, that shouldn't have happened to that man, but you've got to look at all of the circumstances that led up to that. No, that shouldn't have happened to him, but look at everything that happened. What were we talking about? Call in the usual suspects?
Yes.
When something happens?
When something goes wrong.
That is a man that they would have called in because he was a constant offender. And a lot of these shootings that happen that have been brought into the mainstream media.
Sure.
These are constant offenders, and they're people of suspect, and then they do something wrong, and this happens, and then that's all you ever hear is, oh my God. So that is another decisive thing that goes on. Yeah, Justin, I bet you did do it this time. Come on. Oh, this one's too fat to jump. All right, bring him up here. Ugh.
So let me see.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Darius. He's not felt good the past few days. He's not felt good. So, but anyway, he sounds. Can you hear him? He's purring pretty good. But anyway, he feels better now. I think just the cold weather that come in, and he's old, and he just didn't feel good. So.
I agree. I agree with him wholeheartedly.
Do you know?
I was saying, I haven't been out and about for like 4 days now.
Yeah. This boy doesn't care whether he goes out or stays in. He just doesn't care. But I tell you what, I did not realize until that bad cold front come through that I had arthritis in my left hand. And I found that out real quick. And I was inside. I was not outside.
It doesn't matter.
And it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't matter.
I hate to tell you this, but it doesn't matter. It's like that barometric pressure. When the barometric pressure changes, oh God, you feel it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So wait, am I gonna? I can get hell. I can tell you a storm's coming. Whole days before the weatherman can.
Well, thankfully,
just by how much it hurts when I turn my head.
Thankfully, I've never had a broken bone in my life. I'm knocking on all
Oh,
kinds of wood here, but
okay.
so I don't have that. But
Mhm.
when this come through, I was cooking supper for myself. Believe
Uh-huh.
it or not, I was actually cooking,
Oh my.
and um, all of a
Mm.
sudden I couldn't hold. It hurt. It hurt, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm inside. The heat's on. What's going on? Yeah, I've got lint rollers everywhere.
Mm.
Definitely. Yeah, Justin does too. He says he's got a shit ton of cats.
Uh,
He's got as many cats as he does cars, I think.
oh my.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
lot of cats.
It's a lot of cats. You're right. A lot of cats. But yeah. No, the phone call I got, and I hated I had to get out of it, but I'm actually working this week. I'm house sitting, but I have to come home to take care of a few things, and so yeah, whenever they called, I had to take that phone call. Oh Lord, politics.
What other subjects should we avoid this show? Oh, I don't know. Gosh.
No.
Oh,
Apparently
anybody
not
want to
kitty
talk
cat.
space?
No.
No, Elon Musk and the oh gosh, the Artemis program. I could go. I could. Oh, and I saw something today that kind of threw me off track, and I was following that down the rabbit hole for probably a couple of hours this morning. There's a company in the US and it also has an affiliate in Canada that wants to start building small nuclear reactors and put them on barges so they can be taken to wherever they need extra power, like New York or Norfolk or Tampa or wherever they, and just plug them in.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at that and just off the front of it, I said, "Oh, okay. So you want to have Fukushima without the tidal wave? All you have to do is sink a barge, and it's right there in Tampa Bay. For the next." I said, people can't be actually setting this up as a functional company, trying to get bids on this stuff. Where's their mind?
Well, do you remember the quote unquote all the money that was given to these solar panel companies and they all went nicely bankrupt? Never happened. Yes. Government gave them a shit ton of money. Nothing ever came out of it.
Solyndra was the big one. And I think they got 500 million.
Nothing.
And there were others too. But
belly up.
Whole thing, do you know India is like the second, which makes sense really. India is like the number 2 percentage-wise of their electricity comes from solar. Okay. Do you know they don't make a single solar panel in India anymore?
That doesn't surprise me. They've got all of our phone
because
calls.
China came in and used some of those trillions of America. They didn't pay that high, but they bought up the industries that were there that were viable, and shut them down. Now India has to buy all their solar panels from China.
Well, look where all the coal's going.
Good business, sure.
Look where the majority of the coal's going to fucking China. We need that fucking coal.
Yes.
And that's the thing that gets me. You've got India and you've got China, and I know there's other countries but
Mhm.
they're not supposed to go with this bullshit of the global warming. They don't have any restrictions on them. They can do whatever the fuck they want to. They always have
Mhm.
been. But yet we're supposed to watch we're supposed to pay taxes on our carbon footprint. Come
Yes.
on. Al
Sure.
Gore, that son of a bitch. If I could go back in time, his daddy,
You'd beat him. You'd beat him with his
he'd have been
hockey.
swallowed. He
You'd
wouldn't have been
beat him.
able to go.
You'd beat him with his hockey stick,
Yeah,
wouldn't
I know.
you?
I'd have got, yeah. His mama would have swallowed. She sure wouldn't have, But anyway, or spit, one or the other.
Oh.
That's when that would have happened. He would. That's when I remember when all of this really went crazy because he was like,
Well, it took
"Oh
a
my
couple of
God, in
years.
10 years,
It took a
the
couple of
Earth is
years
going to be
after that.
gone."
It
Well,
took a couple of years
and I
after
can
that
remember. I can
for the
remember
rest of
in
the story to come out.
70,
The thing called they
79,
have like a big stock board all over the world selling carbon credits.
all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And what the fuck is a carbon credit? It's like a Bitcoin. What the fuck is that?
Yes.
There's
There you
nothing.
go.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
Mhm.
But I can remember in third grade, and that was back in the 70s when I remember looking at whatever, I don't know if it was science or whatever, but
Mhm.
they were showing that in the 1990s, Florida would be gone because all the polar ice caps would have
Mhm.
melted and all this stuff. Part of Texas would be gone, part of the East Coast, part of the West Coast. Hey, guess what? We're still here. All that shit is still here.
Justin would be like 10 feet underwater.
Yeah. He'd be gone. And there's no tell. The funny part is they never did show us about the other side of the world. What would have happened to all of Greenland, Iceland, UK, Ireland?
Oh,
They didn't bother to show
right?
that on their map
Yeah.
because they knew it was bullshit then. It's bullshit now.
Well, I do believe there would be a new the area of India, Bangladesh, on the east coast of India
Mm.
would just pretty much be a big.
Mm-hmm.
The whole country would be underwater. They keep talking about several Pacific islands that would disappear,
Mm-hmm.
but
They're still here.
yeah,
And the volcanoes just keep spitting out new ones.
that's right. That's right.
It's like, here you go. Here's another. And this is another thing. This is last year, the 1st of December, here in
Mhm.
Western Kentucky, Central
Oh
Kentucky.
yeah, yeah.
We had those massive tornadoes that just completely wiped out Bowling Green, Mayfield, in places in Tennessee that nobody discusses.
Mhm.
But I mean, the one that came through Bowling Green, it traveled 122 miles until it got right
Mhm.
into the first county of Kentucky. And then a new storm kicked out. But anyways, so I had this discussion. I saw somebody talking about global warming, and that's the reason those tornadoes hit. And I lost my shit. I never, ever,
I
I
can't imagine.
never,
I can't imagine you losing your shit.
I never, I always just go through and go, okay, dumbass, dumbass, dumbass. I never respond. Never respond.
Mhm.
You're too fucking stupid. You don't know what's going on.
Yes.
And I just couldn't help myself with
Mhm.
this one. I was
Yeah.
like, you all, and I
So
looked at
you
these
got
people.
caught up. You got triggered.
That
You
one
got
I
caught
did.
up. They got you. See?
They did on that one.
Just like that's
They
this
did on
morning.
that
They
one.
got me before I'd finished my coffee.
If it happens every 10 years, it fucking happens. But this is the first time I lost my shit. And I'm like, you all don't live in Kentucky. You don't know how this this is a
Mhm.
fucking weather pattern. Yes, it went to an extreme, but I want to see you talking shit whenever a big fucking blizzard comes through here again. We had a blizzard that come through here in 78, 77, 78, whenever that was.
Mhm.
Didn't hear. Yes. I did. I went Karen on her ass. But the thing about it is that I knew what the hell I was talking about. But they just kept going on. It was
Yeah.
like, oh. And I said, I'm going to go back into my feed and I'm going to find that. And I'm going to post about how fucking cold it is. And this is a weather
Hell
pattern
yes.
that has hit 77. Now, 77, 78 was more north of us, but still, we had blizzard conditions in Kentucky.
I'm trying
But
to
we
think.
didn't get
I
all
think
of
that
that.
one. I think that one when that one came through,
Mhm.
we had. I'm trying to think like 45 days in a row below 0.
Mhm.
It was tough.
It's brutal.
Yes. Yes.
And you were like, why doesn't global warming really exist?
Mhm.
But then in 82, 80, 83, 80, 82 and 83, there was a thing. It was really warm
Mhm.
that
Okay.
Christmas. And then the next Christmas, it was cold weather like this again. 2012. We had
Okay.
it's a freaking weather pattern. This is
Yes.
a cycle we all go through.
Mhm.
How many set, and I can remember, and I wish I'd have took a picture of it, but there was a 2008. Well, shit. Yeah, 2008. It was 71
Okay.
degrees Christmas Day.
Mhm.
Guess what? 3 days later, we were all freezing our asses off because a big snowstorm come through.
Yeah.
This is Kentucky. And that's what I was like, you live on that side of the country and you live in another country. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Mhm.
And what was it? 1830 something? Was that the year with no summer? Or was it 18?
I'm thinking it was like 1807. But
Okay.
was that the one that they said was probably caused by Krakatoa,
Yeah.
that Indonesian volcano, giant volcano that blew up in Indonesia. I think that was 1803, but it might have been later. But it
See,
was
I can't.
in the 1800s.
It was
Okay.
it was
Yes.
1800s. But
Well,
that's what.
That's where Courier and Ives get their beautiful pictures of little
Oh,
frozen
yes.
over ponds and people ice
Mhm.
skating on the Thames and
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff.
Mhm. That's right.
That was the year without a summer.
Right. And there was a lot of people that died because, I mean, you couldn't
Yes.
grow a garden. You
Sure.
couldn't, if you couldn't hunt, and of course they couldn't, the animals didn't survive because they didn't have anything to eat.
Mhm.
Nothing was growing.
Yep.
But that's what, and it's like, y'all, global warming, are you kidding me? Because we're smoking crack over here or something. I don't know what you think that's causing global warming.
Mhm.
But you have a huge volcano to explode and dump tons of ash into the atmosphere, and you'll be wishing for global warming.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's going to be
We've
bad.
I can remember back, and it's still around, but it's a little harder to find the the concept.
Hmm.
There's a Milankovitch cycle, okay? That's a perturbation in the orbit of the Earth that brought up that kind of ties into the beginning and the end of the ice ages, okay? And there have been several, okay? According to that cycle, we should be in an ice age now, in the beginnings of an ice age right now, but we're not. And maybe that's a lucky thing. You know, if we weren't supposed to be in an ice age, maybe maybe it would be hellish hot here. I don't know. But the point is, no one knows. It's far too complicated.
Hmm.
Okay. But the best we can do with the best science that we have available, people say these things, these short-term things that happen every year. Okay, we
Mm-hmm.
have a bad winter or a good winter, or a
Mm-hmm.
or a dry year or a particularly wet year. Those variations should tell us that this whole thing is pretty fragile. Okay, so why fuck with it? Don't fuck with it unless you know what you're doing. You
Well,
know,
see, but that's the
and
thing. They don't know what they're
we've got
doing. They
people
think they can control
exact.
it.
And there are people that want to put a giant sunshade out
Oh my God,
in
yes.
space. You know,
Oh yeah.
there are people
Shield us from the sun,
who want to
please.
dump iron filings into the
Mm-hmm.
Pacific Ocean to change the currents. That's just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Insanely. I don't. I just you
Well,
can't.
okay, so that's
It's like I'm gonna do I'm gonna do an experiment to determine exactly how much poison I
mm-hmm.
can uh, inject into a person without killing them. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna work on myself.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
They ain't
I
gonna
don't
work
think
on themselves. They're gonna do it on
that's a
us.
real. I don't think that's a really good idea. Okay.
You know, when you was talking about the iron and stuff in the ocean,
Yes.
but
Mm-hmm.
yet let's bitch at everybody else that they're killing the coral reefs. Hello, it's not us, it's you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing. There's another conspiracy. The contrails and the chemtrails.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's true. Weather modification is actually what that's called.
Yes.
And they
Yes.
did it in Vietnam. And there's proof because that came out.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing that.
Yes.
They did it. So if they could do it there, what makes you think they can't or won't do it here?
Well,
Or have
what's
it?
his name? Or have they?
They have. They've tried it with
Sure. We
hurricanes.
know they did. We
Yeah,
know they
we
have
know they
on a
did it in
small scale.
Vietnam.
On a small scale, sure.
And we also
That's
know
a
that they
regional
want
scale,
to
sure.
do this with hurricanes as well.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Was it last year that the Chinese had their Olympics, their Winter Olympics?
Hmm.
I mean, they openly seeded the atmosphere with great success in order to get the snow that they
Hmm.
needed to run the Olympics.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You might want to consider rebranding this show to something like Whack a Noodle Show instead of Survivor Circle. I think she's probably got a point.
It's probably shifted that way a little bit too much.
Pretty much.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
We know what we like.
You know, Julie, bless you.
Yes.
There are so many programs, so many projects, so many operations. Anymore, it's hard to keep up with it. But I do remember, gosh, it was before Jimmy died. 2013, 2014, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember finding because I was going through the Department of the Defense contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Was thumbing through those.
Oh, those are fun.
Well, and I found
Yeah.
one, and I don't know if I can find the snapshot of it anymore, but took a snapshot of it. Excuse me, and it was talking about predictions of population of the United States by 2025.
Oh my.
And it was down way low. I do not remember right now what it was. I hope I can find this snapshot.
Okay.
It was ridiculous. It was like 75% of the population would be gone by 2025. And you could go through the countries. You could go through all of the countries and tell. But I mean, and it put each year out there, but 2025, 75% of the population wasn't going to be here anymore. So in my mind, I'm like, holy crap, they're
way behind
they're
schedule.
looking for something.
They
They are.
schedule.
Honey, this is just 2023. They ain't done yet. 2020 could have been their beta test.
Oh, please don't get me started on that.
That could have been their was their beta test.
Have you been following? I'm sure you haven't. But
I'm trying to stay away from all this shit.
Take a look at what's happening in China right now.
Oh, yes. Yes.
This week.
I know. Yes.
Okay.
I know it. Yes.
The new and apparently a new variant of COVID has cropped up in China. And they are it. Well, there are sources that are getting out that it's really, really bad. And
apparently we're behind the times.
200 something like 250. They're calling for something like 250 million cases.
But you know,
in this particular boost.
Okay, so tell me something. What did China do with all the dead people from 2020 from the first go about? What did they do with them?
I don't know.
Seriously?
But their complaint. One of the complaints on this year is they're stacking them because they don't have enough capacity in the incinerators.
They weren't saying that in 2020.
Well, they weren't saying a whole. If you remember,
they didn't say nothing.
They weren't releasing any data.
Nope.
They weren't releasing how many people had it, how many people died, anything. Okay, so the fact that they're releasing information now is, I don't know whether it's really good or really bad, but it's definitely. Oh, please! I wouldn't buy any Chinese. I wouldn't buy any Chinese. I wouldn't buy any Chinese pet food though.
Oofy wins the internet today.
They might get to have a preference for it. Let's see. That blew my mind out.
But seriously, and that was a question. It was like they weren't. As many people as they said that had died, nothing was coming about what are they doing with the bodies? Seriously. I mean, China should be half cemetery anyway. Compared to their population.
Yes.
That's kind of like Louisiana, man. They're just stacking them bitches on top of each other because they can't bury anybody.
The Gobi Desert is really, really big. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! What was the other? But the part 2 to the China thing is they're finally lifting the restrictions on China on travel, on international travel in China, because the population is really been upset because they've been locked down for 2 years. But they want to get on their planes and travel all over the world.
They've been doing it anyway.
Well, now they want to do it more.
But they've been doing it. So people have been coming in there. Oh God, here we go.
But the number of visas or passports or whatever the hell a permit in China is called is up like 10 times more than it was last year.
Yeah, that's what they say. But anyway.
So coming to a new variant of COVID is coming to an airport near you soon.
Coming to America soon. This will be coming to America 3, right? 3?
I I can't keep track of the movies, but yeah, pretty close, pretty much.
Oh, but by God, you better have your fucking passport because you're
But
not
the
coming
thing
in
is,
unless you've got it.
well,
Oh, there was another thing.
Japan,
Speaking of passports,
Japan has instituted their own passports. Go ahead.
the what was it Olympic? Somebody from the Olympics, somebody that tried to come in to the country, but because they didn't have their COVID vaccination, we didn't let them in. When the fuck did that start happening? It
I don't
hasn't.
know.
It's another bullshit story. It's another bullshit story. It's something that something that this individual has done, and the government come up with a bullshit story to say, oh, well, they didn't have their COVID vaccination. I'm sorry. You've got our southern border. It's wide fucking open.
Was that
These
okay?
people
But
don't have their COVID vaccination.
was that a government action, or was that an NCAA action, or an Olympic Committee action?
NCAA? No, I think it was a government thing.
Okay.
Anyway.
I vaguely remember hearing that, but I didn't really pay enough attention, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, Justin. Maybe we should be, and we wouldn't be spewing so much shit tonight. Just saying.
Oh my God!
Because it's
get more fiber in your diet.
Something.
Oh God.
Something. But anyways, it is almost 10 after 7. We've been going for a little over an hour and a half.
I know. See, sometimes we just get going, and it just.
Well, we do, and this is a good thing.
Yes.
But my computer's about to die.
Oh no! Can't have that. I think we've got everybody as rowdy as we can get them. Brain fiber.
Brain fiber. Yeah. There's some shows that just don't need to be done. It's listed as that. So.
What was manipulation?
Mm-hmm.
We're responding to the manipulation.
That's right.
And it hasn't been necessarily pleasant.
And CT has still not brought me any peanut butter toast. So be gone, CT.
Yes. I want to know what's in those sparkly bits. Yeah, toast and sparkles. I want to know what's in the sparkles. It's got to be better. It's got to be better than crunchy peanut butter with honey on top. Yes.
Crunchy peanut butter. That should never have been a thing.
Yes. Why bother with peanut? Just throw peanuts on bread.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Put mayonnaise on it and peanuts, whatever. That's what you want to hold it to the bread. Whatever.
Yes. There you go.
Should never be a thing. There are just some things that when you eat them, they're not to be crunchy. And there are some things that you eat are not to be slimy or smooth. It's just one of those deals. Like when you bite into an apple, that needs to be crunchy. It never needs to be soggy.
Yes. I can't say that I've ever bitten into a soggy,
I haven't either.
Apple.
And I hope to God I never do. But anyway.
that would kind of I'm afraid that would put me off apples forever.
Oh, yes, it would. But then we have applesauce.
Yes.
But there you go.
Hey, just so it has a little cinnamon in it.
Yes. Sugar. We're good.
Yes. Well, folks, I guess we're going to wind it up. It has been fun.
It has been.
And we absolutely enjoyed ourselves, and I hope you did too. So, thank you, Maria. You have a wonderful night,
Charles.
and
Thanks,
may the rest of the
everybody.
holidays be productive.
As long as I have alcohol, they shall be.
We'll come back and we'll come back and talk about New Year's resolutions or something next time.
No, fuck that. That ain't happening.
Oh yes, yes, those 1 week, 1 day or 1 week resolutions. That's
Yeah,
okay.
not happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Good night, all.